I hosted an event this past weekend that 4 people showed up to, and I am so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it because I was living out my values, and when I am hosting something, I am one of the happiest people in the world. And it doesn't matter whether 4 people show up or 400 people show up, it gets me so excited to bring people together. So let's talk about what it means to do something that you value and you really love, even if it makes you potentially look a little silly. So this past weekend, I decided to host an album listening party for my first favorite band's new album. They're a band called The Format, and they were coming out with their first album in 20 years. Yes, you heard that right. 20. I first fell in love with The Format in college. So they were really formative for me between the ages of 18 to 21, 22. And they defined that period of life for me. They were like a little secret when I discovered them. Me and my friends would, when they would come in town to perform, they performed in these small venues. Like, it was just that only a few of us knew who they were. And their music was so lyrically clever and emotionally honest. Their style of music is sort of this emotionally honest lyrics layered on top of indie pop music. The music itself sounds like it could be really happy or cheery, but the lyrics have this emotional quality to do it. It was just music that spoke to me at the time. It's funny because their style of music is very different to the type of music I listen to today as a 40-year-old woman. But whenever I hear The Format, and whenever anything about them comes up, I go back to that person I was when I was 18 to 21. I just love them. I will listen to them forever. So you can imagine I was super excited when I heard they were releasing a new album. They did a little mini tour this past fall to reunite. They had tried to reunite in 2020, but we all know what happened then. So they did this small tour of concerts, and after that tour in the fall, they announced that this new album was going to be released. I saw them perform in Arizona. I got to connect and meet up with a few women that I knew from college who I literally hadn't seen since college. They were also big fans of The Format, and it was amazing to be able to see them and then to also see The Format. One of my dear friends who I know from college, his partner, his girlfriend, joined me as my date for the show. It was just overall just such a great show. There were 13,000 people at this concert. They're from Arizona, so they drew a big crowd. All the seats were sold out, and I sang so loud at the top of my lungs. They have 2 albums that came out in 2003 and 2006, and I know every single word to both albums. And I can't say that about very many artists or bands that I know every single song to their albums. It felt so good to sing out loud to their music along with a bunch of other fans. So you can imagine my happiness when I heard they were releasing a new album in January. So I had this idea when I heard they were releasing a new album to host an album listening party. I know they have fans in the Bay Area because they announced that they were doing a spring tour in support of this new album, and both shows are sold out in San Francisco. So that means that there are other fans here. And I want to meet them. So they feel very much like they're still kind of a secret to those of us who know and love them. And there's something about knowing the format that makes you feel, for me, connected to someone else. So I want to meet other format fans. And I've been traveling earlier this month, as you might know, out of the country. So I decided very last minute last week that I wanted to put it out in the world to see who would be interested in joining me for an album listening party. The thing is, I didn't know where to find other fans, so I posted on social media. I posted on Threads, on the Reddit fan group, and also the Facebook fan group. Posted who would be interested in joining me for an album listening party if you live in my city. I had one response on Threads. I DM'd her immediately. She responded back that she would be so down, but then she stopped responding. So I thought, okay, maybe it's not going to work out after all. I told myself if I found just even one person who would be willing to join me for an album listening party, I would be down. But this person decided to not respond to me. So 2 days before their album was to come out, I got a response on my Reddit thread that someone was very interested in joining me for a party. I DM'd her on Reddit immediately. We exchanged numbers. We started texting. She said she was super down. I went ahead and confirmed the venue that I had been talking to. There's this amazing venue not too far from where I live, and I've hosted events there before. The owner is so nice, so accommodating, and he was willing to open up the bar early to host this party. So I went ahead and confirmed the bar. I made a particle. I put her on the invite, and she became a co-host, and we both just blasted it out to everyone. And I responded on different social media threads. She blasted it out to friends and on music Slack groups. And we just waited to see if anyone else would respond. She had some friends that responded. We did have one other person that RSVP'd that they wanted to attend, which got us really excited. And then on the day of the event, it was her boyfriend, and a couple of friends. And it was perfect. It was exactly what it needed to be. We listened to the album in increments, 4 songs at a time, and then shared what we heard and bonded over what we experienced in the music. And we prompted with different questions like, tell us about your first favorite band and how you first encountered them. It was a really amazing way to bond over listening to music together and music as a whole. At the end of the listening party, we played songs from their old album, and me and the co-host, my new friend, we sang super loud at the top of our lungs to a few songs and jumped around and danced together. At one point, she said that she had never sang or danced to the format with someone else before. So it was really, really special that I got to experience that with her. Oh, I forgot to mention that when I blasted that I was doing this event on social media, one of the band members, who is essentially the main collaborator with the lead singer, he liked my post. That was all the validation I needed. He didn't share it, but that's okay. Now I know at least one more fan of the format in San Francisco, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it. So this whole experience was just a reminder to me that no matter the outcome, I really love hosting and bringing people together. In fact, bringing people together and hosting more was one of my intentions for this year. I want to put myself out there to meet people, to build connections, build community, and I want to document this journey. I want to bring neighbors together. I want to build more of a sense of community in my neighborhood. I'm working also on a big project that is very much about connecting people to their neighbors and to their sense of community in the city. So I very much want to live out these values on my own. And it starts with starting small. It starts with hosting an event that only a few people show up to, where you connect with one stranger to start. And so I encourage you to think about, where do you really want to lean into your values, even if it might make you look silly, even if it means not as many people might show up. Where do you feel alive and happy no matter what? Where are you leaning into your values, even if it's a little scary at times? So I'm excited to really live out my values, because it connects me with myself, and to have that be the reason that is enough for me to do it. So I hope that this encourages you to think about that for yourself, and I look forward to sharing more adventures in leaning into your values and connecting with yourself.